Actually, let me go ahead and get started here. So, thank you for tuning into the Okinawa Karate Podcast. I am Josh Simmers, coming to you from the birthplace of karate, Okinawa, Japan, with my special guest who's not in Okinawa, Japan, Mr. Richard Canton. Thanks for joining me today, buddy.
How are you guys? Thanks, Josh. How are you, buddy? Okay.
Cheers from Okinawa. It's
cheers from England.
8 o'clock at night. 8:05 in Okinawa, so it's okay for having a beer on a Saturday night.
And it's midday here at lunchtime on a Saturday, and it's lockdown. So, yeah, cheers.
There you go. There you go. So Richard and I met 2016. Did you come here? Or was it 15? 16.
Yep. 16.
2016, you came to Okinawa. First time ever to Okinawa. And you know what, Richard? I cannot even remember how I found out you were coming here, but you posted something on one of the Facebook groups. Yeah, I'm coming to Okinawa, this and that. And I was like, all right, I'll help you out. Let's see what we can do, get together to train. I love meeting new people and training with new people. You came over here in August, I think it was. July or August. I remember it was blistering hot.
Yeah, and I can remember because – And you're like, because it basically was one of those things, and because I'm not part of any association or anything, and it was like you say, I literally put a thing on Okinawan karate. Hey, look, I'm coming over to Okinawa. Anyone speak English, want to meet up? Would be really, really cool. Just have a bit of a tour guide or anything like that at all. And then you messaged me, and we sort of interacted a bit on Facebook Messenger and stuff like that.
Right, that's right.
And I remember you and I we spoke about it a day or two after we met. Because we thought, shit, hang on a second, I'm about to meet this guy. We've arranged to meet this guy and spend the next 7 to 10 days with this guy. What if I don't like him? Crap, what's going to happen?
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
But luckily we hit it off, so it was all right.
We did. And that was the first time I've ever actually done that. And I remember actually, now that you mentioned it, my wife telling me, she's like, because I took off work. I took some vacation days, and I was like, well, you know what? I want to do this. There's part of the beauty of living on Okinawa and different people coming here. Because, you know, I was stationed here in the military, and then when I came back to the island, when I was training in America, I always wanted to know what was going on in Okinawa. Who's over there? What's going on? Who can we train with? And when I got over here, I thought, you know, I want to try to help other people if I can. Yeah. I can't always get you a foot in the door of a particular dojo, but I can try, right? And I remember we were sitting there that night. We were training with Canton Sensei at our dojo, and you were like, yeah, I'd really like to get into a Goju-Do dojo. And he was like, okay. And he picks up the phone, and he calls Kuba Sensei, right? And I was like, fantastic. Yeah. Was it the next day or 2 days later? I thought I was going to pass out at Kuba Sensei's dojo.
That was tough. That was a tough session.
Like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Adam helped us get in touch with him, right? Adam Ball down there in Australia. And that was perhaps the first time. No, it wasn't. It was the second time I literally started to see stars here in Okinawa when I felt like, okay, I'm getting ready to pass out. And if he did not give us a break, I was going for it, man. I was going to fall right out there on the floor. And he must have saw it in me, because right then it was like, okay, time for a break.
Yeah, and he was just like, yep, thanks, boys. I'm off now. Take a photo. Yep, see you later. Yeah. And I remember you and I looked at you and you looked at me, and that knowing look of, what the heck was that? Yeah.
It was like an hour and 15 minutes or hour and a half of just almost nonstop training, like 1 o'clock in the afternoon on a weekday here in Okinawa. Yeah, and he went right back to work.
Yeah, so straight downstairs, and me. I think it was you, Adam Ball from Australia, and we then went out and had something to eat for lunch.
Yep,
so
good day. And I got a parking ticket.
Yes, you did.
It's just a warning. And luckily, I haven't had one since. So, anyway, this is the first time I've done an interview not here in Okinawa. When I started the Okinawa Karate Podcast, actually, I didn't start the podcast when you were here. I started it after you had left.
Yeah, right? Because you were talking about it when I was there, so you were thinking, this is what I wanted to launch. Yep. So it was a good idea.
About almost a year later, I think, is when I kicked it off. Yeah. And at the time, I said, look, I'm only going to do interviews here in Okinawa. That was my main goal. When people come into town or, interviewing the senseis here, obviously we're in a bit of a unique situation right now.
Yeah.
I've put myself on lockdown and put my family on lockdown. You're on lockdown there in England, right?
Yeah, we're done. We're in lockdown.
So I said, hey, it's time to do something with Zoom and reach out to Richard. So
Yeah.
let's get the rundown of what is Richard Canton all about, and tell us about Canton Martial Arts.
So, okay, so long story short, I started training when I was 12, 13. My mum wouldn't let me train as a kid. I was quite energetic, for a better word. And about 12 or 13, I did Taekwondo for about 2 or 3 years. Then I joined the Australian Army. I didn't then left, joined the Australian Army when I was 17. Went in as an apprentice carpenter in the engineers. Was only in there for a couple of years, did my apprenticeship, and I trained karate in the Australian Army. I left, went traveling, and then about 1992 I started training again in a style called Zendukai karate in Australia. And in Australia I was training that, and then I thought, this is cool, I'm actually enjoying this, I actually enjoy training. And then in 1995 I saw an advert to actually teach full-time for a living. And I thought, hey, look, man, I've got to jump at that. So I left my job and started teaching full-time for a company called GKR Karate, which is massive in Australia. Then in 1997, I flew to England and set up GKR Karate over here in England, down in London. And all going well, really, really well. New manager come in, my old manager left, new manager come in. He was great at first, but then typical after a while, you start to sort of butt heads, and you think this guy's not sort of the same guy. Just the company, the club was changing as, from what I first joined 8 years ago.
Yeah.
So then in 2002, I started up my own club, Canton Martial Arts. A lot of my black belts and students and stuff like that come with me then. And then, so I basically started Canton Martial Arts then. Since then, we've moved down to the coast. I met my wife, and she lives right by the beach. So I lived in a crap hole. So it was just like, right, we're leaving there, and we're coming down to the beach to live. And now we have one full-time center and 6 satellite locations. And before.
At the beach, where is the beach? Where
so Eastbourne in England. So Eastbourne in England is just next to Brighton. About so if you look at London, and we're at the bottom, right on the very, very coast. Okay. And so our dojo is literally probably a 4 or 5 minute walk away from the beach. And we would have the guys, when we had fighters, we would actually have them doing beach sprints and stuff like that over night time, which is crazy. So and so since then, Canton Martial Arts has been open. So we've got one full-time center, 6 satellite locations. Before coronavirus, we were doing really, really well. We had 500 members. Throughout all of the locations, and absolutely smashing it. And so doing really, really well. We're a sort of fairly decent sized club when you think about it, with 500 members training every week. And
Richard,
since Corona,
where are the other dojos located? Are they all somewhat close to you, or are they spread all out over England?
No, so over the southeast of England, Canton, East Sussex, which is 2 states or 2 counties here in England. So from the furthest dojo, from where the full-time centre is, to the furthest one away is about a 2-hour drive. So and then dotted in between there. So, for example, we're in Eastbourne. We've got one in Hailsham, one in Hastings, one in Rye, one in Folkestone, one in Canterbury, and one in Ashford. So they're sort of big towns in and around Canton, East Sussex, that we've been sort of got into. And we run 2 to 3 nights in each town. And service anywhere between sort of 30 to 100 people within that one satellite location.
Okay. Wow. No kidding. That's fantastic. And tell me about what do you teach? What do you train? What do you teach? Is there a specific style at the Hombu Dojo versus the other ones, or is it everyone teaches the same thing? How does that work?
So we basically, I would class myself as a freestylist. What I've done what I've done is I've trained in Muay Thai for like 20 years as well. And I do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and I've probably done 2 or 3 different types of karate throughout my training.
Mm-hmm.
So what I've tried to do is take the best bits of all of that and put it into one karate style.
Mm-hmm.
And anything that I don't think that doesn't work or is outdated or antiquated or anything like that at all, I've just left. You know, I've sort of thought, no, I need. So I've tried to make it a bit more as modern as possible. The kata we do 5 kata on the way to black belt. So for you, kata ich, no hunchin, Saifa, Sansuru, and Basadai.
Mm-hmm.
So they would be Goju-Ryu kata and a Shotokan kata traditionally.
Mm-hmm.
And then our black belt katas are above. They're mostly Goju and Shotokan. So if we were to look at our basics would be the same as Okinawan karate and so Goju-Ryu and Shotokan, fairly similar.
Yeah.
But at the same time, then we would have clinching, throwing, takedowns, arm bars, pad work, the whole sort of more impact training sort of side of it, rather than we don't do any real Olympic karate or points fighting. It's more Budo application type stuff. Yeah.
Right. And so at each of your satellite locations, and you have a head sensei that's teaching and running and teaching all of those disciplines as well.
Yeah. So basically our style, the style that I made up my own syllabus and made up our own thing. And then I have 4 or 5 full-time instructors that train with me, work for me. And they come to the Hombu Dojo and train every week. And so that everyone knows the core syllabus. Yep. And everyone understands what the core syllabus is. And so then they'll go back to their respective dojos and teach the syllabus as well as anything else. So each week would have a theme, for example, weapons defense or throwing or something or other like that. And so we would teach the core, but during that week, there would be but we're going to concentrate on weapons this week, or we're going to concentrate on throwing, or we're going to concentrate on a pad work, or we're going to concentrate on something else that particular week. And throughout the whole of the club, everyone would sort of rotate pretty much the same sort of time.
Okay. Children and adults, how young will you accept?
3. We start them at 3. Yeah. Wow. So we have our little and that's tough.
Yeah. I start them at 6, and then I had enough of those 6-year-olds that I started saying I wasn't going to take under age 8, and then I wasn't going to take under age 10, because it is difficult. It is very difficult. Takes a lot of time, but it's very rewarding. So age 3.
And I tell you what, they are awesome. And because I refused to do it for years. I'm not starting until they're 5. I'm not starting until they're 5. And then once I started the 3-year-old lessons, and I used to baby them and stuff. Yeah. And in the end now, man, I smash them. Don't you move. Go do that. 20 press-ups. I know it. And I'm on them. And they love it. They absolutely love it. And I know you're not meant to cuddle kids because of touching them and all that kind of stuff. But I give them a cuddle. I don't care about any of that crap. You know, I give them a cuddle. Oh, I love you, Richard. They don't call me Sensei or anything. I love you, Richard. Oh, I love you guys too. And they bring in drawings and stuff like that. You know, so I love that. And so, but they still have to do it. So they still having to do proper kihon. You know, still having to do proper basics and stuff like that. Yep. They don't do any forms, or if we do sparring, they're not hitting each other. But a lot of it is what I've done is I've looked at what PE lessons and and I've researched a bit on how developmental their bodies can actually play. And what things they can do within the development part of their body, and then thought, how can I incorporate some form of karate lesson in that, and just do that. And it just goes for 30 minutes. and I get some of the parents up, and it's just like they do but they'll do self-defense techniques. They'll do proper front kicks, round kicks, side kicks. They'll do the whole lot. It's not just they're not just there to piss us about. They're there to do a karate class.
Yeah, that's great, and I'm sure the parents enjoy it too because they're burning off some energy. And how long have you been teaching the 3-year-olds?
2 years now.
2 years. So have you had some of them that started at 3 and they've stuck with you, and now we're turning 5 and pushing 6 and everything?
Yeah.
The progression that you're going to start seeing is going to be amazing with those kids.
And the great thing is about it is one thing that I've developed, because I see a lot of schools, they'll teach one set of stuff for the 3-year-olds, another set of stuff for the 7-year-olds, another set of stuff for the 10-year-olds, another set of stuff for adults. Mm-hmm. I teach everything the same. And so our self-defense techniques that we teach the 3-year-olds, if you were to come to class, for example, at 30, I would be teaching you those first two same self-defense techniques. So it basically, in theory, someone could start from 3 years of age and go all the way through to 14, and you're going to have the same syllabus all the way through and have the same amount of progression to be able to come through. It took a bit of time, and it took a bit of work for me to understand how I want that, and how as a black belt, what I expect from someone as a black belt, and then how I can break that into 1,000 pieces from someone at 3 years of age to get to there, if that makes sense.
Right. Yeah, it does. Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, it makes sense if you start somebody at age 8 or if you start somebody at age 10, right?
Yeah.
So what would you say if you had to pick one discipline or a favorite? I mean, Muay Thai, BJJ, a traditional type of karate. What is your go-to? What is your bread and butter? What is your favorite? If you have to stand up right now and go do something, what are you going to do? To train on your own or to start teaching somebody from scratch? Do you have a favorite?
Yeah, I actually had this question asked the other day. If I train, I like to train Thai. You know, for example, every year or two I go to Thailand and actually train over in Thailand.
Yeah.
The reason I like that is because I can just hit things. And Thai, there is not as many, you know, it's like in karate, you've got all those fine, minute, tiny details that you can break into. Which can take a lifetime to learn. Whereas you can go to Thailand and you can just smash the shit out of pads for a couple of days.
Yeah.
And so that I love. You know, I love the fact that you can just go and train, get a sweat on, have a bit of a punch up, smack someone in the mouth, get a punch in the mouth to yourself, you know, walk off there, have a beer, and job done. I love that side of things. You know, I enjoy that. But I much prefer, I believe karate I could do for the rest of my life, because I will never be able to stop learning from that. You know, karate for me, you know, whether it be the ground side of things, the throwing side of things, or just the small, you know, the application. For example, we do lots of application or bunkai drills, you know, 2-person flow drills and stuff like that. And that, for me, that's the beauty about karate. You can, I think, learn karate until you're 90 years of age, because you're just going to adapt it. So for me, I love to train in karate, Thai. But for realistically, I think I'll be able to do. I won't always be able to fight, but I will be able to always do karate for the rest of my life. So that would probably be my answer to that one. I think.
When you were here, you went to training with Sensei in Goju-do, I think. Yeah, and I don't know how old he is right now, but he's in his 70s, maybe.
Yeah. I think even older.
70s. I'm saying again.
I thought maybe even older.
He might be in his 80s. I'm not sure, and I'll check on it. But he's one of the examples. And then actually, our head sensei is 78 years old, and it's just so common here in Okinawa. These people that are in their 70s, some of them are still in their 80s. They're in the dojo every day, and they're training with people. I mean, we'll be over there doing stretching and doing kihon and stuff, and our sensei. Actually, you didn't meet our head sensei when you were here. You met his senior student, who's 62 now and still lightning fast. But our head sensei, and he just gets up and he starts stretching and like gets into this deepest squat of anybody in the dojo, and just because he's been doing it for so long, you know, and he's just constantly moving, and they're just not sitting down all the time over here. They're not training like idiots either, though. You know what I mean? They're not killing themselves every time in the dojo.
No, and I think that is the myth. That is the one of the biggest thing I learned when I was in Okinawa. Because I suffer with fairly bad arthritis because the amount of fighting and competing I've done, my body is now mullered. So I have arthritis and things. And here in England, it's quite cold. So in the winter, my body hurts a lot.
Yep.
When I was in Okinawa, and that's another reason why I like going to Thailand, is I don't hurt.
Yep.
I actually feel young again. My body doesn't hurt as much. It's warm. Everything is lubricated. Like in Okinawa, the thing I loved the fact that you would fart and sweat.
Yeah.
You are constantly warm.
Yep.
And I love that, and I think that helps. Things like Yagi Sensei, you see him down at the Budokan every single day with Steve Lyons and guys like that.
Yep.
Just guys like that. But I think that sun and that warmth and just guys constantly training like that, it does help.
100%, without a doubt. I believe it. I posted something about it, kind of almost joking around a while ago about the sauna therapy. There's a lot of people looking into that these days and doing studies on it. And if you're here in Okinawa, basically from May through October, and you're in the dojo, you're in a sauna almost. I mean, you're just pouring sweat. And I miss it right now. I miss it because in the winter months, it's not quite as hot like that. I still sweat a lot. But then over the last month, we haven't been in the dojo. I've been doing training on my own, and it's been lower tempo because I'm here at the house, right? I don't have a dojo at my house. I'm in my backyard fighting the mosquitoes, but I miss that just pouring sweat, you know, like you got out of the shower, and it cleanses the body. And I know that is why some of the people live so long.
That's it. And I think that's where people like in Okinawa or Thailand, or even when I was living in Australia, the same thing. You literally, your gi, even here in England in the summer can get like that when you are dripping, soaking, absolutely wet. And I'm sure a lot of the older martial artists, you know, karate guys can actually vouch that, you know, when it's cold, you know, and it's only like 34 degrees Fahrenheit, and you're going to walk into a dojo and your bones have been training for 25, 30 years, and you've been doing long stance or Zenkutsu Dachi for that long, and your knees are like, and you're like,
well, that's another thing. You typically don't see such a long stance in Okinawa anyway. But so, coronavirus, we'd be crazy not to talk about it. I mean, this is why we're doing this Zoom interview. I'm switching over to, okay, I want to interview people. I want to do stuff for the podcast. I see a lot of different senseis, including yourself, doing Zoom training with their students. First of all, we've talked before we recorded it, but you're healthy. Your family's healthy. You're doing okay.
Yeah, so when it all kicked off, I actually caught the virus. I was home for 2 or 3 days, sweats, chills. But I just had lots of Lucozade, lots of sleep. Took me a good week or so to recover because I actually had the shortness of breath and things like that. But it was, I didn't feel right on the Saturday and Sunday. I coughed. Monday I wasn't right, and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday I was rough. You know, so 3 days I was not good. And then Thursday, I woke up and I felt like, oh, actually, I feel okay now. And then just from there, I felt okay. So I went back to the dojo on the Monday and did a load of pre-recording stuff online. And even like 5 minutes into the warm-up, I was sort of coming off the camera, sort of a bit like, oh, Jesus Christ, here I'm knackered here, you know.
Yeah.
And so then I'd come back on the camera and jump in the rest of the class. And then on Wednesday, we did a load more pre-recording, but I was fine then. So it took a week or so to clear through. Wow. But my wife, she's a trooper. My wife and daughter, they're fine. They haven't had any symptoms or anything like that at all. So, yeah, we're all here. We're all fine here now, so to speak, really.
That's good.
Yeah.
And do you – so are you on a government lockdown? Like, are you mandated lockdown right now in England?
No, we are mandated lockdown, but I go to the dojo every couple of days anyway.
But you're not allowed to have a class.
No. So I literally, what we will then, so we are doing like exactly what you said. When this all first kicked off, me and my team, my instructors, we went to the dojo and spent 2 days there and pre-recorded 3 weeks worth of lessons. And so what we basically did is, and then we sent that to everyone. Bang, this is your lesson for today. This is your lesson for today. We then sent through worksheets and all that kind of stuff and contacted them, Zoom Q&As, anything like that at all, to be basically keeping in contact with the student base that we possibly could. We lost still over 130 members have gone in the last 2 weeks alone.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, 130 members, boom, gone in 2 weeks. It was just like, holy shit, there's a big chunk of income gone. You know, we've had to lay 2 members of staff off. I've got an apprentice; she's on furlough. So it has taken a massive kick in the balls with regards to the business side of things. And so you look at that, and I've spoken to a lot of people. Where we are, where you have a lot of foreign workers, and because we're on the beach and lots of hotels and lots, so they instantly closed the hotels. So we were having people, 5 to 10, 15 people losing their jobs a day in and around the dojo. And when you think about it, martial arts is, most people live paycheck to paycheck. They're spending 80% of their wage to live and survive on, and 20% of their wage goes on, extras. And unfortunately, karate training is one of the extras.
It is,
And when people are losing their jobs left, right, and center, so literally we lost 135 within 16 days.
Wow. I am so sorry to hear that.
Cheers, buddy. Yeah. And so, that's a tough call, but hey ho, shit happens. You just got to roll with the punches.
Literally, right? You do. That's heartbreaking, though. And I talked about that a week ago when I recorded a very short update to the podcast that, here in Okinawa, the majority of the dojos are not the primary income for the senseis. My head sensei is retired, but no one else in our dojo, not a single person, is relying on the income from the dojo. The vast majority of them are not. So we're okay here, right? But I'm very concerned about where I train back in America, because it's not that way.
I agree. Yeah, like a lot of guys in the States, I talk to a lot of guys in the States, here in the UK. Martial arts has become like the fitness industry. It's a massive industry now. Yep. That's the one reason I love going to America. My dad lives in America or in Canada now, and I'd always go to America and I'd just find the local strip mall, go and train, because there and you look at a lot of guys, and over here there is a lot of smaller clubs that will fold, because either A, they haven't got the technology, or B, they haven't got the money to be able to keep going. And for example, if you look at my club alone, you've got me and my wife. I've got another husband and wife team who have got a franchise. I've then got another 4 staff on top of that. And not all. See, if you think about it, you've got 6 or 7 staff, paid staff, reliant on what is in effect a martial arts business. And I would imagine, some of the other schools, that are going to listen to this, whether they're in America or wherever, are the same. They are reliant or have turned. I'm one of the lucky ones. I get to actually teach my hobby, or my hobby has become my job. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, when something like this happens, you think, oh crap, this is taking a little bit of a hit here.
Yeah. Well, I hope that the students around the world can stick with their senseis, and their senseis can stick with their students. There's every business is being affected by it. But something kind of struck me funny here, not funny, but 2 or 3 days ago, you had posted something online, because I follow you on Facebook, about doing Zoom training and people not keeping up with it, right? And then you said you and your staff went in and recorded 3 weeks worth of footage of lessons. I think that's fantastic. I really do.
Yeah.
There's part of me, and senseis around the world are doing that. I see it on Facebook and everything. That's great. I recorded some videos for my students and put up in a private group that we have. But I'm in the position where I just stopped in March and I stopped in April teaching. I'm not collecting tuition fees, and where I rent my dojo, I'm not paying. I have that ability, right? Yeah. But one of the things that bothers me is the lack of desire for people to train on their own. You know, and I don't want to try to come down on people that maybe lost a job and they've got sick loved ones. I'm not trying to come down on people for that. But the majority of people aren't in that situation yet. And I'm sitting back and I'm seeing so much stuff online. And this is I'm probably going to turn a lot of people off right here on the Okinawa. I really want to know how many people are training on their own. I know that I have at least one adult student that's training because he'll do it all the time anyway, and he's training with his children. And I'm down to only like 10 students right now anyway. But I'm sitting here thinking, okay, you know, I was joking with you. It's hard for me to get my daughters to train. I have to force them, right? Okay, Dad, whatever. That's a father-daughter thing. But you know, there's these romantic stories about these old karate masters on Okinawa that would train by the moonlight, you know, so no one could see them practicing their art. Well, how many people are doing that now?
Not many, mate. Not many at all.
Not many. And it frustrates me that training has become a social event. And that's not what it's supposed to be. No. So I kind of think, I'm not trying to make light of the situation at all. I'm not. No. But for some people, it's kind of thinning the herd. And it's kind of a good kick in the hind end for a lot of other people. Like
absolutely, I agree.
You can't train on your own. I don't care if you're a student for 6 months. You have enough kihon that you can train on your own. You have enough basics that you can train on your own.
Yeah.
If nothing else, do exercise.
Yeah.
Go for a nice walk outside and practice some front stances. You have enough ability to do it on your own. And I think it's phenomenal that we're doing this Zoom podcast right now, right? It's phenomenal that we have the technology to be able to do that. But I'm just flabbergasted by what I see as people relying on that.
It's funny you say that. And the thing, I've joined a martial arts mastermind group. And the reason why we actually have gone from the pre-recorded stuff and we're changing now to Zoom is for accountability. We want to, and the reason why we're actually going to Zoom is because we can actually see the students who are online, like I can see you now, and we can actually keep an attendance tracker like we would do normally, so then they can still get their classes in for their gradings and stuff like that. But we can also sit there and think, hang on a second here, because some of the people, you know, it's like you sit there, it's nice and warm. Shall I have a beer or shall I have front kicks? Okay, I'll have a beer. You know, let me do 500 reverse punches. Nah, I'm just going to go for a quick Foster's. But the thing is with the Zoom,
reality too.
and the thing is with the Zoom, and that's why we have changed, because we want to be able to offer that accountability to students who need that kick up the bum. You and I, for example, are different. We're one of the 5%. Who will, if I was to say to you, Josh, meet me at 2:30 a.m. down on the beach. We're going to train in our shorts, in the water, and it's going to be awesome. And then we're going to do 1,000 press-ups and 500 press-ups, and then we're going to throw up, and then we're going to go home and start our day. You'd be like, yeah, let's go, son, let's go.
Yeah, yep.
But everyone else will be like, yeah, no, screw that,
mate. Yeah, we'll see you on Zoom.
Yeah.
Well, hey, we're going to get cut off here in a short amount of time. We're at 5 minutes recording time here, but
we'll have to do this again in a couple of weeks' time and see.
Will, see where you need to get back to Okinawa.
I know. I've been saying it.
So You said you were going to bring your wife and daughter to Okinawa. We were going to get the families together because, our kids aren't going to want to train. They're going to want to just go to the beach and everything like that.
Yeah.
I'm still holding you on that.
I'm coming. I will be there.
It's probably going to be closer to 2022 or 2023 by now. Let's recover from the coronavirus economy meltdown. But we're waiting for you over here. We're waiting.
I can't wait. The thing is with Okinawa, if people sort of say what was training like in Okinawa, as a freestylist, Okinawa, you've got to go to Okinawa as an experience, not to learn anything.
Yeah.
Because I didn't learn anything because I'm a freestylist, and I went to 4 or 5 different Goju-Ryu schools, and each were doing the same kata but differently. So there is no, that's not traditional. There's no traditional anymore. So so I know there's some martial arts schools in Australia and here in the UK who have a sister link or a father link to Okinawa, so they could go to Okinawa and get graded there and actually go and train with the main man, the sensei in Okinawa. And so that I can understand that. As a freestylist, I even said to my guys, I said, if we go, don't think that you're going to go and learn this magic golden nugget. You basically go there for the cultural experience and to have a nice holiday and see where such and such train, see where such and such train, have that training session with that person, have that training session with that person, enjoy the Okinawa for being Okinawa as a cultural experience, and don't expect some miracle training golden nugget. And I think that is, that is the number one thing about training in Okinawa. And that's why when bring the family over, we're going to come over and have enjoy Okinawa as a holiday. Just enjoy and just come to your dojo and do a few sessions and have some fun.
That's right. Yep. Some beach training, enjoy the beach barbecue. Yep. And the golden nugget is just training. Yeah. My sensei in America would tell us that. Oh man. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very sorry about that. First time doing a Zoom video, and I knew I had about 40 minutes before it would cut off, and it cut off at 37 minutes. It stopped recording, so I'm finishing this up right now, but I'm a little bit depressed. I had a great time talking to Richard, phenomenal individual, loved training with him when he was here in Okinawa, and I can't wait to do it again. But to hear him talk about losing over 100 students, it's heartbreaking. And to know after, I called him back after it stopped recording. We talked, for another 10 minutes or so, and he's not the only one in that situation. He's talking to other people up there in England and around the world that are kind of in the same situation right now. So I feel bad. I feel really bad. So anyway, hopefully you can stick with your dojo. Hopefully your sensei can stay afloat. Anything you can do to help them out, please do it. I know everybody's in a tough time right now. Please stay healthy, stay healthy, stay healthy, stay healthy. Keep training on your own. You do not need anyone. You should not need anyone to encourage you to train on your own. You should be doing that in yourself. I'm kind of getting frustrated by that right now with what I see. People kind of relying on too many Zoom videos for teaching and whatnot. It's great that people can do that, but there's no reason whatsoever that you cannot get out there and train on your own. It is April 4th here in Okinawa, Saturday. Tomorrow, April 5th, is the 100 Kobudo Challenge that my friend James Pankovich has organized. I will be doing the challenge alone. I've forced myself to be on lockdown. No one else has done it. Japan is still operating. Okinawa is still operating. Certain things are restricted, but I have forced myself to be on lockdown. I've forced my family to be on lockdown. So I'm probably going to go in my backyard or go find a remote area on a beach somewhere and do the challenge myself. I was originally thinking about just doing bow and sai, but now I've kind of got this itch for tunfa. I'm not really sure why, but I haven't worked with tunfa in a long time. I haven't focused on it heavily in a long time, and I'm
kind of thinking now I'm going to bring tunfa and maybe nunchaku and maybe do 25 of those 4 weapons, which is not what James had in mind. Sorry, James. But it's my challenge. It's your challenge. Get out there and train on your own. There's absolutely no reason for sitting around and waiting for somebody to help you. If you've been training for a month, 6 months, a year, you have all the information you need to go out there and train on your own. You're probably going to have a lot more questions when you come back to the dojo and you get in front of your sensei and you figure things out in your kata, or you're questioning things in your kata or your kihon. But I do hope that everybody gets through this rather quickly, and we're all back into the dojo sweating our asses off sooner rather than later. As always, thanks for tuning in to the Okinawa Karate Podcast. I am Josh Simmers, coming to you from the birthplace of karate, Okinawa, Japan.